Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my April favorites for you guys, and I don't have a ton of things this month. I think I just kind of used a bunch of the same stuff this month, so I don't have, a plethora of items for you. However, the things that I have this month are things that I have worn like every single day and can't get enough of, so I'm just going to jump right into it. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is actually sort of a surprise to me because I have been kind of vocal about how much I am not a primer person. It's been really hard for me to find primers that work with my skin, and most of the primers that I try just suck on my skin for whatever reason. Like, they're amazing on other people, but I just cannot get them to work for me. And I found one that doesn't mess up my makeup or do anything bad, which is like amazing in my book. And I hauled this in my VIB sale haul, I believe, and it is the Tart Clean Slate Poreless Primer. And I have been testing this out ever since, and I have been using it just about every day, and it's funny because I notice the days that I'm not wearing it. I feel like my makeup just doesn't sit as well on my skin, and my skin doesn't look as poreless. And so for me to have a pore filling primer that actually works with my skin is kind of a big deal. Most of the time, those are the primers that I have the biggest problem with, where they cause the makeup to break up all over my nose, or things ball up, or it dries out my skin. All these kinds of issues I've had with other primers that are smoothing primers or pore filling primers, and this one so far has been really amazing, and I'm actually really glad that I tried it. And I think, in terms of whether or not it makes your makeup last longer and all that, is a toss-up, but it doesn't break up my makeup throughout the day. Like I said, it doesn't do anything bad, so for me that's a huge win. And I feel like people whose skin cooperates better with primers may enjoy this even more than I do, so this is a good one. Moving on from there, the next thing I want to talk about is a foundation, and right now I only have the deluxe sample size of these, but I have 3 of the deluxe sample sizes because I kept getting them every time I would shop at Sephora, so I'm stocked up for a while. I don't have to buy the full size for a while yet, but it's the Josie Maran Vibrancy foundation. My shade is in Euphoric, and I have just really enjoyed this foundation. It is one that gives a nice luminosity to the skin without making your skin look oily. It's got a really decent coverage, and it lasts pretty well throughout the day for me. So it's one of those foundations I can't really say anything bad about, and I'm actually excited to buy the full size once I run out of these little sample sizes. But I don't notice that it's super heavily fragranced. I don't notice that it breaks up throughout the day in really weird ways. It's one of those foundations that kind of just wears off, as opposed to having huge patches missing throughout the day. And I'm pretty tough on my foundation. As I've mentioned before, I have really long days, and I don't wash my makeup off the second I get home. I wait until I go to bed, so my makeup is on a good 14-15 hours a day, if not longer than that. So for me to look in the mirror at the end of the day when I'm going to wash off my makeup and be like, my foundation actually still looks pretty okay, that's a big deal for me, because it's been a long time since I put it on, and I don't touch up my makeup throughout the day generally unless something has gone terribly wrong. So this is a good one. The next thing I want to talk about is a brush, and I'm sorry it's dirty, but I use it all the time. And it is the Morphe E8 brush, and this is the brush I have been using to blend out my concealer and set it. And I wasn't sure that I was going to like a brush like this. I usually like a brush like this, which is the Real Techniques Duo Fiber. I think this is the contour brush, yes. So I usually like this Duo Fiber. I feel like it blends out product really well, but I have really, really been enjoying this one. And I love that this will pat out my foundation without taking away too much coverage. I like that it keeps the coverage where I want it. and it's one that I can pat and sweep the powder across without taking away product as well. So I like the way it fits in my under eye area. I really like the shape of it. You know, it cleans up really nicely for me. It's held its shape over many washings so far, so I've really been enjoying that. The next thing I want to talk about is actually something I have been sort of setting my under eyes with, but not really. It's kind of something that's been going over my concealer and powder, and that is the Hourglass Ambient Strobe powder in Brilliant, I believe. Yes, in Brilliant. And it's a yellowish color, which normally does not work for my under eyes. It usually makes my under eyes go back to, you know, whatever I just corrected. It's like every time I put yellow under my eyes, it brings back out that darkness. But I think this provides enough luminosity that it doesn't do that for me, and I've really been enjoying it. It's a really subtle kind of glow, so I feel like it like freshens up my under eyes. It doesn't like provide a crazy highlight under there or anything. It just kind of gives it a little bit of a luminosity so that it doesn't look dry, it doesn't look cakey, it just looks kind of natural in a way, and I've really been enjoying this. And the next thing I want to talk about, I am obsessed with. I feel almost naked if I'm not wearing this every day now, and it is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Glow Kit in Gleam. I am obsessed with crushed pearl. It gives the most beautiful, bright, icy highlight, and I cannot get enough of it. It is just the most beautiful highlight on my fair skin. I think if you had really deep skin tones, it wouldn't really work for you unless you're into that, like, you can see my highlight look. But I just think these colors are beautiful. They blend beautifully. They're just so good, and I love all the colors in here. I use them all interchangeably. Sometimes I'll mix them all together, but I almost always will then go back over the top of everything with crushed pearl because I feel like it gives just the brightest highlight, and it's one of the few that I'll take and I'll put in my inner corner of my eye. The other ones I don't normally because I don't find them to be bright enough, but crushed pearl is just so good. It's so good. So this, I definitely, if she doesn't sell these individually by the time I run out of these, I'll have to buy the whole thing again, and I'll be okay with that. They're amazing. The next thing I want to talk about is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, and I actually thought when I first got this, the first time I used it, I was like, oh, this is going in an Unfavorites because I hate this. And I think for me, everybody raves about the way this smells, and to me, I find it nauseating. It's like banana boat on steroids. Like, it's just so strong, and I think that's like the number one thing I complain about, which I didn't think that I cared as much about fragranced makeup as I do, but apparently I do, because the last few reviews I've done, it seems that the fragrance has been the big thing that I'm like, ugh, this is so bad. But this is like, I'm holding it, you know, almost an arm's distance away from me, and I can smell it from there, which I think in makeup that goes on your face is just unnecessary. And you know, if you have sensitive skin, I wonder if that would irritate your skin because it is so heavily fragranced. And this is the darker color, and it just shows up on me, and I am very pale. So, you know, I hate that Physicians Formula is not inclusive when it comes to their colors. Their colors generally fall in the fair to light medium range, and I think that is the worst in 2016. How companies can only have like a 4 color range, and that 4 color range is tan or beige, you know, like, is just, it's so like self-defeating. There are so many millions of women with dark skin who wear makeup, and it's like, why would you not cater to them They exist and they want to buy your products. They want to be included. They want that makeup. Why would you not include them? So for their darkest bronzer to like just barely show up on me, I'm wearing it today. It's almost like criminally negligent. Like it bothers me so much. And if I had known that this was going to be so light on me, I'm not sure I would have even bought it, because it's like infuriating to me. I get so upset about things like this. I don't know why companies can't do better, and Physicians Formula as a whole definitely needs to do better with their foundation shade range, with their powder shade range, with bronzer shade range. They need to do better. This product itself blends really beautifully, you know, and it looks relatively natural on the skin. I did use it in my prom tutorial, so you can see how it goes on the skin, because I did show that live. You know, so for the product itself, it's a good product. I wish it wasn't so heavily scented, but it works and it does what you'd like it to do. It is matte, but it's not dry matte. It's like a almost satin finish, which looks really natural on the skin. Like I said, they just need to do better. Like, the company as a whole needs to do better with their shade range. And the last two favorites I have are eyeliners. And the first one I want to talk about is like the whole range, but I'm just going to show one. And it's the ColourPop gel cream liners in the pot. I have not been a huge fan my whole life of eyeliners in a pot using a brush. It's something that I've never really felt I was any good at. And I always felt more comfortable with a pen liquid liner, or even more comfortable with just a regular pencil liner. So I've been hesitant to try a bunch of gel liners like this, partially because my lids are oily and I need one that's gonna last, and a lot of them don't. And the pot liners, the high-end ones, tend to be relatively expensive, so I hate wasting my money. But these are $6 a piece, and they come in amazing colors. This is Piggy Bank. It's the purple that I used in the tutorial with the double wing liner, and I just found it so easy to use. I used the black one in my prom tutorial, and I just find that they glide on so nicely. They wear really well. For my eyes, I can wear them for hours and they don't, you know, get all crazy on me and smear all over my face. So I appreciate that. And I just find them really easy to work with. I found my Anastasia one to be extremely difficult to work with, and I thought for the longest time that it was me, that it was my skill level with gel eyeliners, that I just couldn't do it, you know? But since using this one and the other one I'm going to mention, I realized that it's the formula of those that is just very dry and kind of hard to work with, and you can't really layer it, you know, whatever. These you can do all those things with, and I find them to be just smooth and easy to work with, but not so smooth that you like draw halfway across your face on accident, because it just glides. It's a really nice resistance but ease of application at the same time. So I've been loving these. And the other one, I'm sure you can kind of guess because I have used it quite a bit in my tutorials, is the Bobbi Brown Long Lasting eyeliner. And this is just the one in black. It's the only one I have. I know she does have other shades, but this is the one I have. I don't find this one to be as long lasting as the ColourPop ones, and I do have to build this one up a little bit more. It is easy to build up and it is easy to work with, and it's one of those that if I know that my day is going to be short, like I couldn't wear this to work because I feel like at the end of my day it would be all over the place. But if I'm going out for a couple hours or whatever, this is totally fine for that. It's not something that immediately goes all over my face, which a lot of gel liners and liquid liners do. They're like 5 minutes later and already messed up. That's not this one. This one goes for a good 4 to 5 hours on me before it starts to creep around my face. So it's something that I just have to be aware of, but I really do enjoy this formula very much. I do have 2 Unfavorites, and they're the same product but in different colors, and this is like heartbreaking to me because I was so pumped about these when I bought them, and I saw so many people using them. And you know, it's funny because I didn't see a bunch of reviews on them, but I did see a ton of people using them, and so I had waited a long time to get these because they're very expensive for what they are, and I wish I had not gotten them because it's so disappointing to me. And it's the Dose of Colors Ideal Duos, and I use these so many times trying to figure out how to make these work for me, and I can't figure it out. These crease on me like nothing I have ever used in my entire life, and I don't know if it's just because my lids are oily, but I have used this with a primer, without a primer, with powder underneath, you know, with powder over top, and then the glitter. Like, I cannot make these work for me, and I am supremely jealous of anybody who can have these work for them because they're beautiful and they look stunning on the eye, and I love the way they look when I use them until like 5 minutes later when they're creasing like crazy. And when I use Mermaid in my tutorial, I had to stop like mid-tutorial and fix it. Like, I wasn't even done yet and it was already creasing, and there were already patches of bare skin and like in the area that I had used this, which is just, I have never ever had anything do that to me before. And especially since I've gotten into using a primer every day, I am not used to having my eyeshadows crease on me, and like this creased so badly that I just could not believe it. And while I love that the base is emollient and it goes on really nicely, it's too much. Like, it's too emollient. It needs to set and it doesn't. And I thought that putting the glitter on top would set it, and it doesn't. And it doesn't matter how much of the glitter I put on top. I don't know. I am so disappointed. This is $50 in my hands right now for it's this little thing. $25 each. These are not cheap in any sense of the word, and I am like heartbroken. It breaks my heart that these don't work for me because they're so beautiful and I want them to work. I have no words for how sad I am about that. So please let me know if these work for you, if you have them, how you make them work for you, what your eyelid type is, if you have really dry eyelids, if that is what I need, which I'll never have. But yeah, that's my only unfavorite of this month. But that's it. That's all I have. Like I said, kind of short and sweet this month. I've been using a lot of the same things. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and please subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know in the comments what you guys have been loving and what you've been hating. But yeah, so I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you're at, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone!